Hi everybody, it's Kayma here from Craft HQ, and I'm here to show you how to make wax melts from home. The first and most important thing to do is to ensure you are safe. So wearing your apron and at the bare minimum your gloves. Now I have some disposable gloves here which you can pick up from most supermarket or Amazon as well. I have all of my equipment here set up and I'm just going to show you what I have. So I have my stove. I have my double boiler, which is perfect for melting my wax. And we are going to make Orris and roasted Tonka bean scented wax melts today. And I have got a small bag of golden wax. Of course, my trusty thermometer as well, which is very, very key. Have our spoon, our jug, and we also have some different clamshells and some silicone moulds as well. So we have lots of options here. So first off, we need to measure our wax. So we're going to do that using our scale. So the wax I have got today is Golden Wax 494. I have researched the wax and looked online where I purchased it, and it says that I can add my fragrance oil at around 70 degrees. So while my scale is warming up, we are going to pour into our bowl to measure it out and then add it to our double boiler to be able to melt it down properly. So for our wax melts today, we are going to make 500 grams worth. So I'm going to be using the wax at 450 grams. So we're going to add this now into our double boiler, which is on the hob already. Want to make sure we get every flake. And now it's time to allow it to melt. It's important to ensure when making your wax melt, you always measure in grams. Grams and millilitres are very different. One is a volume, whereas one is a mass. Our fragrance oils at Craft HQ are already measured out in grams, so this will help you. Now our wax is fully melted, we can move on to making it into our wax melts. Now, first step is to always ensure you are wearing your safety equipment, such as your gloves, and your apron, of course, which I already have available. Our next step is to decant our wax into our jug. So I have my jug ready here, and I'm going to simply remove my wax from the heat and very slowly and very carefully pour it into the jug. So now our molten wax is ready and just cooling down. So the first step is always to ensure you check your temperatures. And we're going to do that with my thermometer here. Give it a good mix up. Make sure you're not touching the spoon and you're just in the centre of the wax. This will give you an accurate reading each time. And now a top tip for you would be to ensure you always have 2 thermometers on hand, because you never know when one is going to give up the ghost. So you always need to make sure you have 2 available at all times. Now my wax is currently very, very warm, as we expected. So we're going to allow that to cool for a few moments. And while that is happening, it gives us the chance to be able to measure out our fragrance oil so it's all ready. So I'm going to use my scales, and I have my lovely little jug, and all reading 0 accurately. And the fragrance we are going to make today is Orris and roasted Tonka bean. This is a very lovely fragrance, a nice masculine scent. So as I have 450 grams of wax ready to go, I'm going to need 50 grams of fragrance oil, because I'm going to make my wax melt at 10% today. So I'm going to use my scales to measure out 50 grams. Go, 50 exactly. Pop the lid back on, and then I have got this ready for my next batch. So my fragrance oil is sitting ready and waiting, and we're going to go back and check the temperature of the wax. So the temperature is starting to come down slightly, but we're not quite ready yet. Ideally, we need it to be around 70 degrees to add our fragrance oil in. I found this out by researching the wax online where I bought it from to make sure that I am going to use the correct temperatures specifically for that wax. So now, while the wax is cooling, we have time to set out our molds. So I have 2 sets of shell silicone molds here, and I also have 2 clam shells. You can buy these in many different places. Okay. Another handy tip is to always have some kitchen roll close by. You never know when you're going to need it. So they're very, very handy, especially for wiping your thermometers and ensuring your surfaces stay clean. So now my thermometer has done its job, and I can pop it to the side, and I'm now ready to mix my fragrance oil into my wax. So I'm going to simply pour it straight in, and this is a very key part now. Ensure you thoroughly mix your mixture. Making sure you mix it thoroughly is very important because it will ensure that the wax and the fragrance oil bind together properly. Now, this cannot be underestimated at all. It's a very scientific part of the process, and it is very, very important. You want to ensure your products are the best they can possibly be. So making sure you don't skip this step is very important. As I stand here mixing it, I can start to smell the fragrance coming through. It's really, really lovely. I've opted to go for a natural wax colour this time because I think it really highlights the gorgeous colour of the wax, and it's just a really nice neutral colour that way. Once you have thoroughly mixed your mixture, after at least a good 2-3 minutes worth of mixing, you're free to be able to wipe off your spoon with your trusty kitchen roll, pop that to the side, and now it's the fun part. It's now time to pour. Now I'm going to pour my mixture directly into the moulds. So I'm starting with the clamshells first. Nice and slow and steady. So that's 2 clamshells done. And I'm now going to move on to the moulds. Now, as you can see, this is a little bit difficult by hand. But once you've done the first couple, you can get into a knack. To help with pouring into small things such as silicone moulds, I have my piston funnel. Now this is very, very, very handy for small purposes like the silicone mould. So just pop some of your wax in, straight over the top, and use the trigger to release the wax as fast as you desire. This gives you a more accurate pour, which means less wastage. And it's also speedier than you think as well. Now our fragrances have all set and we are ready to demould.
Once you have demoulded your wax melts, I would recommend packaging them straight away into their retail packaging. Then you can leave them on the shelf to cure. Once they are ready to send out, they are already packaged, and that is part of the job you've already done, so you don't need to revisit it again. Don't forget to add your CLP labels and logo labels too.
So these are ready to package up for your customers. And our clamshell is also ready to close up. And now all that's left to do is for you to add your logos and CLP information. Thank you all for watching. I hope this how to make wax melts at home guide has been very helpful. Do let me know in the comments below.